Hey there, the new farm's finally in a groove. Let me give you a little bit of an update, show you guys around. Well, as you guys can see, things are growing really well here. The growing is getting really dialed in, but also the sales and the business side of the farm is doing really well, and I want to talk to you guys a little bit about that, some decisions I've made, and just give you an update. I want to show you how some of the crops are progressing here and show you exactly what I'm growing, and also show you some of the improvements around the property that we've been working on, and they're still, ongoing, but also what's coming up on the channel and all those sorts of things. In addition to getting certain crops dialed in, one thing is that I'm really embracing interplanting. I know we've been talking about this a lot, but I am just blown away by the yields I've been getting. And it's not a real beginner technique because you have to understand both crops, kind of how they work together and timing, but this bed over here, this is peppers. So these are the Italian sweet peppers and these are beets, and the beets are almost ready to harvest. They're getting pretty big. And so these will come out soon and then the peppers will overtake this bed. Over here, we got cucumbers that are doing really, really well and starting to fruit. And then we got the lettuce along the sides here. So this is 2 rows of lettuce. This is essentially half of one of my normal beds. So this is just a bonus crop essentially. But yeah, the tunnels are just jam-packed with food and the yields are just blowing my mind lately. It's just absolutely fantastic. A lot of it has to do with soil health, which I talk about all the time, and no-till practices, but also the tunnels are fantastic and just allowing really consistent growth. And the irrigation system and just all the pieces are starting to come together, and the farm's just really in a groove and growing stuff really, really well. Here's a couple more versions of interplanting that I'm doing right here. This is 3 rows of beets and 2 rows of lettuce. This here is 3 rows of green onions and 2 rows of lettuce. So what I've realized is that things like beets and green onions are great for me here. They grow well and they sell well, and I generally would plant my green onions, as you guys probably know from previous videos, at 3 rows. And so what happens here is that, the lettuce is growing in between the green onions. Green onions grow up, so they're not really competing with each other. And by the time the lettuce is big enough, we harvest that out. Maybe a week or 2 after that, the green onions will be big enough, and we can pull those out. So essentially, I'm getting 50% more per bed. And I have a lot to learn with this. I'm gonna experiment probably all year and try to get this dialed in. But as of now, I'm just kind of planting out my beets and green onions and then just filling in with lettuce because I always need extra lettuce. And the thing about beets is that I haven't been successful with beets until this year. And partly it's because I've been, insistent on direct seeding them. And I know I talked to more and more growers that have kind of given up on that. So these are all transplanted, and that has made the world of difference. I get nice even growth and consistent yields and stuff. And so I'm really happy to add beets to the mix. And I'll talk about that a little bit more with different crops I'm growing right now and how that works into my sales strategy. Here's a bed of that lettuce green onion combo, and this one is much further along. In fact, it's ready to harvest probably last week, but I'll get to it this week. And you can really just see the production here is just absolutely incredible. And it's one of the things I'm really trying to dial in here this year for my own farm, just to try to make as much money and grow as much food as I possibly can in a small space. And it's definitely something I want to document to share with you guys to show you what's possible. So just want to show you one that's further along and how well it does. Let's talk about lettuce. And as you guys know, lettuce is my main crop. It's the thing I grow the most of and sell the most and make the most money off of. And for a couple years, I was doing that Cherokee Mirror Magenta mix, and I switched over to the foundation mix, the Salanova foundation mix, and it's been awesome. It's exactly what the restaurants like, and the yields have been insane. And so this lettuce got a little bit big, but I harvested about half the bed, and I got about 45 pounds. So I've been estimating about 70 to 80 pounds off of a 48-foot bed, and I think it might be a little bit more than that, depending on how big they get. But a lot of times when they get big, you might have issues with rot or stuff like that because it's just too moist in there. So you want to make sure you harvest it on the smaller side. I was growing a little bit too much and got kind of behind in the harvesting and had more lettuce than I was selling. So that's why these heads are so big. But man, I've been super impressed with the yields and the quality. And yeah, this is working really, really well. All right, so carrots have been an awesome crop for me so far this year. And it's a crop like beets that I haven't had much success with in the past. I grew a little bit of carrots last year to varying success. And it's been awesome this year. Carrots are an amazing crop. They can be highly profitable, and they're also just super tasty. And when I'm out here working and I'm hungry, I just pull out a few and that's a snack, so that's a bonus too. But I'm trying a few different varieties. I'm not sold on anything yet. These are sugar snacks, and I've been growing mokum since. I like the flavor of mokum better. They're a little bit like a wider carrot. Sugar snacks tend to be longer and skinny. But that's what I've been doing so far. And I was selling them with the greens, and the chefs kind of don't want the greens because they don't know what to do with all this. So what I've been doing is I just twist them off like this and sell them like this, and they're bagged. I mean, I wash them obviously, and this is how I've been presenting them to the chefs, and they've been super, super happy. It's only been a few weeks, but sales have been good, and it's just really nice. I gotta get this cropped out. What's going in this bed next? I have another round of cucumbers going in here, and I also have more peppers going out as a succession to follow these 2 beds of peppers. So we should have cucumbers and peppers and carrots and lettuce and green onions and beets, and those will be the crops moving forwards. But let's talk about the overall sales strategy. Well, if you're watching this video later, it's late May and summer is definitely starting to creep in, so it's getting pretty warm out there, so I'm in the shade now, which is much more comfortable, and the lighting's better. But anyways, I want to talk to you about the business strategy this year and how that's working out. Before we get to that, I need to take a minute to talk about today's show sponsor, which is Growing for Market magazine. Growing for Market is an incredible organization that's been in existence for 30 years, providing amazing content for growers and farmers all over the place. And the articles are written by people that know way more than I do about this stuff. And you will not be disappointed if you go and check them out and give them a shot. They have a print version of their magazine and an online version. They also have an online archive of 1,600 articles for you to check out. I have a coupon code SHOVEL for 25% off. I'll leave links down below. And I want to thank them for sponsoring this channel. Now let's talk about the business strategy this year. And the plan, I think, is definitely working out to what I predicted. Now, as things are starting to open up more in the economy and restaurants and stuff like that, you guys know I'm selling 100% to restaurants. So right now the demand is growing. I'm seeing restaurants pick up in terms of business, and they're ordering more, and it's just kind of timing out really well with how my production is now coming into play and ramping up. So it's been really good. I have about 9 customers, plus or minus every week. It's, 1 or 2 more or less. And a lot of them have come from either people I've known from the last few years, networking, all that kind of stuff. And I'm really happy with the people I've been working with, and it's been great for sure. And one thing I've noticed I'm trying to focus mainly on lettuce because that's really, to me, one of the most profitable crops I can grow. But the only way to make more money on lettuce is to get more customers. So having a few more crops that you can sell each one, like if I'm already bringing lettuce in, then if I also have carrots, I also have beets, I also have peppers, it gives them, and cucumbers, like it has more options for those. So maybe I'm selling them 2 items or 3 items or maybe even 4 items if I have it. So that's kind of been the strategy, and I'm just trying to figure out a way to do that without adding more beds, because that is something I do not want to do. I want to keep the farm really small and really manageable and keep my time down. Sales have been increasing and it's been awesome, but with that comes some problems, and mainly right now is just getting the food delivered. I have a station wagon and it's too small. I can only put so much stuff in there, and so I'm either gonna have to start making 2 trips on delivery days or buying a larger vehicle. So things I'm considering right now for sure. But overall, the strategy has been working out really well, and I'm just seeing business get better every week, and it's been fantastic. I think this is working out really well for me. But I just want to share you, those are the crops I'm growing, and it'll probably be those for most of the year for the summertime, and then we'll work into other crops in the fall, and I'm not sure what those are yet. But lettuce will go all year, probably grow carrots all year, but like cucumbers and peppers, those will probably just be a summertime crop. So let me show you some other stuff around the property. An update, or not really an update, on the hedgerow here. We haven't done much. It's still tarped, it's still breaking down. I'm in no rush with this project, and I actually kind of put it on the back burner. I haven't really been acquiring plants and stuff for this. I kind of just been slacking off. I've been so busy with other things, but it's still here. We're still planning on doing this. We're also gonna add in some raised beds along the top of tunnel 1 for some more hedgerow type stuff, and increasing the opportunity to house beneficial insects and pollinators and stuff like that. So that's really cool. Another thing that's been great is the bird houses. I've had these around the farm, and I always love having bird boxes around because we have tons of bluebirds and other things that love nesting in there. And I did a video a long time about it, but there's a great benefit of having bird boxes in that the birds, as they're, using them, they're going in and out of the beds and getting pests and stuff out of there. So increasing the animal interaction and the diversity is always important. Another thing that happened, if you guys remember, I had a tree that fell down here a while ago and broke the fence, so we got rid of that, fixed up the fence. So just trying to take care of the things around the property that have been kind of put on the back burner. I know last year when I was working at Sattin Hill Farm, I'd come home after working there. The last thing I want to do is like work on stuff outside. So a lot of stuff around the property has kind of just been neglected, and I'm trying to catch up on some of that stuff and just make the place look pretty and sort of managed well and stuff like that. Let me see if I can show you what's going on in the bird box. Well, that was a lot of fun, and I highly recommend that you put bird boxes around your property. I love them here on the farm. Bringing that diversity, just the cool factor of having the birds, and it's just awesome. Anyways, a little update on tunnel 2 here. Things are growing really great. I showed you a little bit around in here. These 2 beds over here are about to get flipped, and I'm gonna plant more peppers in here and more lettuce in here just to keep up with the successions. I'm trying to plant lettuce about every week or so, if it's a full bed or if it's something that's going into the interplanting. But let me give you a little bit of updates, some of the other stuff over here. Here in the nursery, and this greenhouse has been incredible. It's been a complete luxury for me. This is from Rimol, and generally the temperature's been staying down pretty good in here with the fans and louvers. I haven't put shade cloth on it yet, but I will think about it if I need to. Things are still germinating out here and doing pretty well. I have to stay on top of the watering, but that's with any nursery really. But I've been absolutely loving this, and I'm not sure about the shade cloth. We will see as the temperatures creep up. But we don't get full sun here all day long because we're just surrounded by trees. So not everything gets full sun all day, so we may or may not need it, we'll see. But overall, this has been working fantastic, and I'm just trying to keep up with my seeding. I've been loving the soil blocks, and I think that's been a big part of the success with getting the plants out into the field. We've had very little transplant shock and getting really healthy starts. So overall, this has just been fantastic. The compost bins have been working out really, really well. I love Gene's design. It's just very robust, very strong, and we've been composting all the crop residue and leftover food and stuff from our house, and it just feels nice to get that compost situation underway. I'm learning about composting. I'm not the best at it, but that's been going really well, and now that we don't have chickens, all the crop residue is getting composted and we'll turn back into soil, so that's great. One other thing I want to point out here, which is an awesome little idea here, is that when you have your hose and you're trying to pull it down a walkway, like I always hand water the beds when I direct seed something until they germinate because it needs more water than everything else does, and drip's not going to do it, and I'm not going to overhead irrigate the whole thing. It's enough to saturate the ground to the point where the direct seeded crops are happy. So I just hand water stuff until the beds germinate, and when I'm pulling the hose down the walkway, if you guys have ever tried to do that, they often will jump into the bed somehow, and I have those bed stakes at the end of the beds, but that doesn't really hold it in place. So what I have done here is it has a piece of PVC here slipped over a U-post, and this has been working great. And what happens is as I walk down the walkway here, the hose just rests against this and allows me to just walk down the walkway and not pull it into the bed. So this is a very simple thing. I didn't want to just leave a U-post because it was super sharp, and if you fell on it, you might get hurt. So put a piece of PVC on it. This is a scrap piece of PVC, and yeah, this has been working really, really well. So I'm down here below tunnel 2, and this is that big open area at the bottom where I used to graze the chickens, and I just want to show you what's going on here. Things are looking great. It's really green and lush, and a lot of that's just from moving the animals through for so long. And there's probably just a lot of random grass out here, probably mostly fescue, which is something that grows very, very well here. A lot of people grow it in their lawns. And I planted out a native meadow mix, and I'll give you some updates on it as it starts to come up and grow. I just planted it recently because we had a bunch of cooler days and some rain, so I'm hoping that got a lot of the seeds to germinate. But it's a mixture of native grasses and wildflowers and stuff, and I just want to increase the diversity on the property, and this will just be a nice place for bees and other pollinators and all sorts of cool stuff going on down here. Probably let this go a little bit more natural and just have sort of an open space with lots of cool stuff growing. So I'll keep you guys posted on this, but that's what I did out here, and I can't recommend or not recommend what I bought yet because I just don't know, but I will keep you guys posted. As I said earlier, I'm trying to do some cleaning up on the property just in general, and this area behind me is my original chicken run. I don't know if you guys remember in some of the videos, there was like a fence here with railroad ties. I've cleared most of this out. I still haven't taken all the hardwood cloth and stuff out yet, but just opening this up, we're just gonna wood chip all this and just keep it mulched and just have a nice like shady open area so the place is just getting cleaned up. But there's been one bigger thing that we've been working on, and I'm gonna show you that right now. This is probably the biggest change on the property lately. We took out the old greenhouse, the PVC greenhouse, and it just wasn't being used. It wasn't the right thing for what I needed, and I really enjoy the Farmer's Friend tunnels. And part of the sort of plan here for the property was to get rid of this and open this up, so this is part of like the backyard here and make it more accessible for the kids and everything. So we just got it out, and I gotta make sure I gotta level this out and plant some grass out here and make this like one continuous space, so this will be really nice. But yeah, this is gone, and it was holding up pretty well, but Gene took the plastic home to re-plastic some of his stuff, and we're trying to reuse the materials as best as we can, and overall it's just nice to have it out of here and just focus on all the stuff that's going on with the other tunnels. That kind of wraps up the farm tour and update. Hopefully you got to see enough of what's going on here to see that things are progressing really well. Everything's growing really well. I really enjoy the systems that have been put in place. They're very efficient, and I'm just really happy with watching the business grow as well and develop and all that kind of stuff, which is just really exciting for me as a farmer and as a small business owner. And hopefully you guys can see that that's what's going on here. So I want to talk a little bit about the channel moving forwards. I'm going to be making some changes, and partly there's a few things going on here. One is I've pretty much made all the instructional content, or most of the instructional content I can think of, for this kind of farming and on this property. And so I get questions a lot about, you know, do you make a video on this, make a video on that, and frankly they've mostly been made. I either have 1 or 2 or maybe 3 videos on the topic. So if you're looking for something specific, use the search bar on the my YouTube channel, and you could probably find it. So if you're looking for irrigation, type in irrigation, you know, that kind of thing. If there's something that you're looking for that I really haven't done, send me a DM. I'm totally happy to make more instructional content. I want to do some about the new irrigation system, about the tools I'm using this year and things like that. And there'll be more updates and things that come up. And I do have some scheduled things lined up for interviewing other farmers and growers and stuff, and I love doing that. I absolutely love being behind the camera and letting other people tell their story. I think that's super special, and that stuff will be coming up too. But I'm not burning out at all. I got a lot going on, and I want to make sure everything gets enough time between the farm here as that business expands, my work with no-till growers and the projects I'm working on with them, and then other video work and stuff that I have going on. So, of course, this channel. So you'll probably see about 1 video a week or so, and the other part of that is I want to spend more time on each video and try to make each video even better, and I don't want to rush things as much. Sometimes that definitely happens when I'm trying to pump out a bunch of videos. So that's what you'll see. I'm also going to increase, I think, the live streams on this channel, and if you guys don't already know, I do a live show every other Tuesday night on the No-Till Growers channel called Growers Live, where I interview people, and it's amazing, and you guys should check it out. But I'm probably going to mix in live streams on my channel as well to just interact with you and answer questions and hang out and that sort of thing, because I just feel like I need to try to help you guys as much as possible. And I have a whole sort of library of instructional content out there right now, and instead of just remaking them, I want to make sure that I'm getting the information that you guys need. So again, I'll probably increase live streams, and I think that's about it in terms of the farm, the channel, all that stuff. I don't know. Let me know if you have any questions. I really appreciate all the support and everything over the last couple years, and hopefully you enjoyed this video. Thank you for watching. Please hit subscribe if you're not already, and we'll see you in the next one.